Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. There's a lot going on. We're going to get into a few things here and there. I'm going to let Tina, the co-host, say hello. Hello, Tina.
Hello, Tommy. Hello, guys. I'm Tina Brown here in the UK. Go. You can find me on Facebook and all the other like Twitter and things like that. I'm here co-hosting this week with Tommy for Encounters, and we're going to be talking about the day before UFO and disclosures. Just quickly before we get on with the show, I was also here in England, obviously. We had first day today, we had 0 deaths from COVID. But there's 3,162 reported new cases of the COVID. So the cases numbers are now rising. And I think as of yesterday or the day before, we're banned. Anyone in Britain can't go to France because of the COVID. But so today's the first registered day of 0 deaths. So that's a positive thing all round. But Tommy, over you, we've got some interesting talking about this so-called Pentagon report today and Luis Elizondo, and I've got a little information on Elon Musk's Starship rocket. So over to you, Tommy, in the States.
All right. If you've been listening to this show, you see I'm pretty much a rebel. Tina's pretty real as far as what she's dealing with and talking about. So that's why I like doing this show. We put as much truth as we can out there. We put as much facts that we can find and come up with. I don't like to promote fairy tales, stories, or anything like that. I don't bring people on that I don't know who they are or trust them. And there's a lot of battles going on in the UFO world right now. And it's sad. And I learned this a long time ago when I used to go around, when I was lecturing with Sergeant 18 and we went to global whole life expos and things like that. All these people from all over the world promoting spiritual things, and they never work with each other. In the UFO world, I think it's even worse right now because everybody thinks their truth is more important than somebody else's. And the sad part is nobody has any real proof. And then Tina has more proof about abduction than anybody else I know. But getting back to these people attacking each other, I'm going to bring this up because I want to get into it a little bit later, maybe.
Sorry if you can hear that timing, Tommy. It's every time we just do the show on a Tuesday, my computer I'll get sent loads of emails at this time for some reason. I do apologize. That's the noise you're hearing. Continue.
Okay. Well, I want to bring up about Stephen Greer. His whole crew, all his people, stick up for whatever he says. And he's attacking Luis Elizondo, basically saying he's fake, bringing out false information. They got nothing. He has nothing to say. It's really bad because he's one of the few people that I kind of think is real. So there was 2 other specials on about him being a fraud and fake. Then there was a whole special on him being real. So, there's this battle on who's bringing the truth out, who's going to expose it. And I mean, when you attack somebody like him, well, attack everybody else. Attack Stephen Greer because he's one of the biggest fakes out there in the UFO world that I know for a fact is giving us false information and giving us useless information. All right. When I say useless information, he came out with a year about a fake alien, which he said he had, that little pencil thing. And then he came out, and now he's teaching people how to talk to aliens. I'm going to bring another name out. I think her name's Laura Corey. She did a movie called, it's called Among Us. You should watch it. I didn't want to watch it because I don't agree with anything she says, but I wanted to watch the movie. It's all about aliens coming here, taking over people, taking souls and bringing them back. Any kind of aspect of aliens communicating, working with us. And that she did all this scientific stuff as well. Interesting.
Is it a story about her abduction?
But she made it all sound good. All these, they had 2 people that said they were put in the mom when they were born. One of the guys said his father was working for the Army and said, look, you can do that, but I want to be the top and get into the top secret programs, which they put him into. But his wife was implanted, and he was talking about he was an implant. So, I mean, they had 2 witnesses on, and it gets into a lot of things, but not one of them said how bad it is. They make it sound like all these aliens are good and everything else. And then you got Steve. When they start helping us in any way, that's when we should be talking to them. I'll give it back to you, Tina.
Well, a couple of things there, Tommy. first of all, I respect other people's accounts. So everyone's account is obviously different if they're taken for different reasons. I only speak on my account, and I do feel generally sorry for anyone who has been taken and does have an account. I know people think, oh, it can't be believed, it's rubbish. It's their version of how they perceived or dealt with what's happened to them. So everyone is to their own. I can only tell you about my account. So a few things I want to address there. I know Mr. Greer is a medical doctor, and he's briefed the council and the UN. Whether he's actually spoken to an alien, I don't know. I don't know if he's come out and said that. I know he runs a group to talk to aliens. But Luis Elizondo is on. Sorry, I do apologise, Luis, if I'm getting your name wrong. Has actually worked in the program. He's worked with these people. He's worked in the military. He's been a paid advisor to the military, and and this is recent, so he's up to date. He's been in the loop, and he seems very genuine. He wants to warn the public, as humanity has, and they do have a right to know. So there is a need to know, obviously. People don't want to scare anybody, but you should be aware. It's like saying, well, you have cancer. We don't want to tell you got cancer in case it frightens you, but you need to know the facts. It's a bit like that. So I think disclosure is like that. And that's the way I think he is approaching it, like the need to know. And the humanity is at a point where they do need to know. Now, the other issue is safety, because they are coming into an alien planet, our world. They're not coming in via the public's knowledge. They're not asking the public to enter our airspace. They're a threat to aircraft, a threat to military, they're a threat to the human race, because we don't know what they're here for. We haven't decided that for. We know, they are a threat to our planet, which they are. They come under the guise of darkness, or they hide in the light in the sky. They come down secretively and covertly. They intrude into people's homes, places of work, underground, in missile silos, in forests. They take animals and they take human beings against their will, without consent. You are totally harmless. You can't harm. You can't do anything. You're frozen. You're incapacitated, and you're basically tortured on another level. There's another word for testing against your will, and it is torture. So there is a convention about. There is like a human rights, or there is a Geneva Convention about the torture of human beings. So if it applies to other human being species, surely it has to apply to beings from another planet that are taking human beings on this planet. So-called communication is happening. Well, if they could, have you consented to that? Because I never consented to that. They never asked me. Did they ask you? They came into my home unannounced when I was a child, and I continued to do so throughout my life and as an adult. I never consented to any of that, and they sure as hell didn't ask me. So, and I'm just one of millions of people that have come forward, and these unfortunate string of events. But so yeah, I do believe Luis Elizondo, sorry, and but this anticipated report. Now, I was under the belief it was going to be like UFO files. They're going to say they agree, but the last 2 weeks, the amount of people that have come out now and said, well, we all know they're real. Barack Obama wants to know, and the person that made it happen is the person everybody hated, but the man got the job done, was the last president, Donald Trump. President Trump, but he got the documents signed, he got the paperwork through, and today is D-Day. So here in England, it's like 8:10. Today's the 1st of June. The 180 days are up. Today is the day of the Pentagon's is it Secretary of Navy release is the report, which is due today. It's the 180th day, and the report is due today. So I'm not sure what time in the States it is due to be released, because if it's tomorrow, that would make it the 2nd, but his report is due to be released today. So you should hear it tonight sometime on your news. I'm not quite sure how that works in the States. But as for another issue you touched upon, is people talking to aliens. Now, whether it's they touch a crystal and see whoever, or they hear voices in their heads, or they get their cards out, or or they're on a wavelength. The knowledge I can speak of about is talking to another species is that it's you can't be invited to be asked to make contact or spoken with. It doesn't work like that. I think even people that have been abducted, there's many cases of people have been abducted that hasn't managed to contact or speak to the people that has taken them. Now, what happened to me was when they lean over your face, so many people say, oh, they come over to you to see the big eyes and they lean over your face. When they lean over your face, when they come over and look at you like that, they come out and they look directly over you. It's because they're seeing if they can connect or contact with you. So they come over and they look in front of your head. And my take on it is your brain doesn't think. You don't have the capacity to think or move. It's like your inside, including your brain and thinking, is just it doesn't exist. You don't know it doesn't exist. You don't know you can't move. You just can't. And you're just physically like stuck there looking up in one position, and that's it. So they look over. I think they do that to see if you are open to it, or you can actually receive the information they're giving. It's whether you're compatible, I think. I don't know, or whether you're open to it. But somehow it's like a grey mist. So they have to be close to you to do it. It's not like right over. I think they're right over to like so you can see them, and it's whether you're like in there looking at them to see if you are compatible, or you can understand it. They get that close to see if they can tune in, like tune in on your Wi-Fi, if that makes sense. But I found when I was laid there, and they were close. When one was close, I could see and hear him in my mind. It's like a grey mist, and it's like a perfume you can understand. It's like a not like a phone call, but you can hear him, but they can hear you listening, so they know the channel's open. They have like a frequency, or they have their I'll call it the link. So they have their link, and I'm in their link, and I can link to their link. So because they can talk to you, but you can sense when they're blocking you. And even on different craft or different locations, each time is like a different signal. It's like a different link, but you have your own stream within that link, if I'm explaining that clearly. So you could like be there and not have the capacity to connect with them. Either you are too overcome or too comatose inside, or you're not compatible and you can't take it in, or you don't understand what's happening. So I think there's a few factors, but again, I'm not a scientist. I can only go on my experience. And my experience was I was laid there and I looked up and this thing leant over me and looked me in the eyes, and I just got the feeling, I just knew it was trying to talk to me. Then the grey mist. So when they're close, I can hear 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe 8. If that is like 8 of them around, I can hear them all in their little link. Inside that little link, once you're still, so you can't physically talk, so you can see the link inside your head, and they can hear you listening. But if there's like 20 or 30, is really fuzzy. I can't keep up that. But it's very, when they want to send you information, it's done very quickly, and it's like a silver cord being pulled through your head. Is very quickly, or they can all merge into one link and rush into your head. I've only experienced that, I believe, once, and that was pretty horrifying. It's like them ants like rushing into your head. They was turning over everything, like trying to find out one piece of information. I knew something and they didn't know how I knew it, and they were just in there in an instant. So it's not what you think. Talking to aliens is, hi, how are you? My name's Tina from the planet Earth. It is not like that at all. Yes, you probably have to be open to it or not ready for it. I didn't even really realize what was going on at the time, and not for many years. But I recognized the link when it happened each time. The one thing that I started to remember was the link. And people say, well, do you talk to aliens? Did you feel something? No, but sometimes in the night, I do wake up in the night. I'm a bit of a night owl sometimes. I go to bed late, or I fall asleep on the sofa, or I'm up with my dogs and I just let my dogs out, or I just get the feeling to get up in the night and I just go outside, and you look up and you'll see things in the sky, and just go out, take your camera, and if you're awake and you're up, just take pictures of it. That's what I do. And you can get some really great shots of things, UFOs, really unidentified objects, glowing and jumping up and down and zipping around in the skies, different colors, different directions, and they're kind of everywhere. So yeah, so whether I don't think they're contacting me. If they are, I don't know, or it's subconsciously, or it's programmed into you. I don't know. That's just a pure guess. I don't know that. I'm just surmising that from how I feel. But then I have done once or twice, like Tommy said, "Oh, go outside and sit," and I have tried meditation and yoga and things like that. And um, all I can say is, from my point of view, when I try, you said try contact and try really concentrate. Yeah, I think you can concentrate all you want. It's not a bad thing. Meditation is not a bad thing. It's very, very good for you. Also, I'm told. Um, but when you're focused and you're concentrating, I don't think you've had 20 or 30 or 50 people. It's like a phone call to them. And I did try a little experiment for a couple of days a little while ago, and they look upon it as like a whinnying child, a squinny child, like a annoying child that's like crying or or they frown upon it. They look upon it as that. So they, when you're in that mood and you're trying to, you don't know the power. Every human being has energy. So whatever you're releasing in your mind, or you're trying to make contact, for all you know, you are making contact. I don't know that. I'm just surmising again. But you don't know what kind of contact you're making as a group when you go out there, like Mr. Dr. Greer does. And you're summoning these beings either from another dimension or another place, or you're bringing them forward. You don't know what you're trying to connect to or what they're perceiving you're connecting as. So there's that really to think about. When I tried it, and I tried it for I think it's 3 days, and I did see one or two objects in that time. I can't say no, I didn't, because I did. But the feeling I got, the reverb back from it, was like a squinting child. I think they appeared. It was like so to say that, yeah, we're here, and there's nothing kind of wrong, and so they went. But it's not like they're friends and I called him. I think if you're just in their local vicinity or in their Wi-Fi link, once you've been in that link, it works both ways, and they can like try and block you from it. But again, like I said, it works both ways. But they can hear you listening, which is weird. I don't know how to explain that, but they do. Once you're in the link, you can hear them, but they can also hear you listen. It's quite freaky. But so that's how I explain talking to aliens. Yes, meditation is a good thing. Yeah, you want to get together and do it, not a problem. You want to go out sky watching, I'm all for it. Anything that's positive, mental health, shoot, brilliant, all the way. But when people are out there saying, "Oh yeah, well, let's summon UFOs," or "let's try and talk to aliens," you don't know how they're perceiving your thoughts. You don't know what damage you're doing. You think that you're giving off positive vibes. It's my understanding from my own experience, not no one else's, that they don't understand human emotion, or if they do it in a limited capacity. They definitely don't understand. It's like you can't if you're you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't have both ways. So if you're like positive mind and all goody 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 goody, and you get that, and that's not what you're getting. It's like having a cake invitation, going for cake and tea, and you get there and it's a crocodile sat there with a knife and fork. They don't know what they're coming to, and you don't know what you're calling to you, and you don't know what pheromones you're emitting or what signal you're emitting out to call them in. But when you're in the link, it's not predatory.
Well, I agree with you 100%. Everything you just said. All the people. I mean, I work with lots of people. I wasn't doing it to make a book. I wasn't doing it for money. I was just working to help people because I was doing past life regression, psychic implant removals, and things like that. But I never charged money. But in the interim, all the people that I work with never had a positive, good experience or could prove one thing they said either. But here's the thing: what she was saying, you talk to somebody that doesn't have emotions and feelings like we do. What do you say? Oh, I love you. What do you think they're going to say back to you? Oh, we love you too. I mean, you expect certain things in exchange, but if they don't have the same emotions and feelings, meaning like their agenda is not the same as ours. We could be worrying about growing corn. They might be worried about harvesting people. So there's a big difference in how they feel and think. And I think we could talk to them and have a good conversation. Well, aliens have always been here, people. They didn't just come here last week, last year, even 50 years ago. They have always been here. Did they help us? Oh, they always helped us. Well, after Atlantis went down, we have not been good people. We've been warring, killing, abusive, rapists, murderers, thieves, stealers, liars. We haven't become a crystal city. I mean, pure and things like that anymore. It was before it went down. And now with these alien races programming us and people accepting what they say. And I'm going to say this. I know we have a little bit difference, but I say this. Experiencer, the word that you were using in the UFO world, means they had a good experience. And we talk about this all the time. Being abducted is being abducted. It's not saying, well, they knocked on my door. They said, do I want to go on a ride for a spaceship? And they're going to feed me dinner or nothing like that. And then they're going to play with my body as well. I mean, they don't say that to anybody they take. And then when they take and bring somebody back, they take that knowledge. We hypnotize people. They hypnotize people. They use programming to reprogram a person to think whatever they want them to believe happened. And I'm not going to say, well, the names in the UFO world, but all these people that have these experiences, what good was it? Did it help you do anything? So if it didn't help you, what right did they have doing it to you in the first place? They didn't. I mean, all these people, some people say they agreed on that in another lifetime. Why would you agree in a lifetime before this one when you're trying to move forward and say, I'm going to get abducted in the next lifetime? Moving forward because you got abducted. But in reality right now, and I know this from about 10 people that I know directly, suddenly became spiritual after they said they'd been abducted. And they write books on spiritualism. And I read it. I check some of the things. I don't read the whole book because once I get into it, I realize what they're saying, what they feel, what they think. And I'm bad. I mean, you see that little word going across the bottom. Why do you think you're spiritual? All right. I challenge people. I'm going to be doing a show this week. It's going to be a prelude to my workshop that I'm doing. I'm going to get into the details. It's going to be about birth, life, and death, and then after death. Now, aliens have their own viewpoint. They taught the Egyptians and the Mayans their ideas of what reincarnation was, but it's all lies. Look what they did to the bodies. Look what they did. The technology they gave us is hurting us. Tesla himself said we're not going to use what he was given to the world wisely, which we aren't. So, everybody says we can move forward. Just think positive. That's like saying we were always thinking negative and that's why we're still negative. Well, we're not thinking positive because I don't think anybody knows how to think positive. And I was just having a debate with somebody. I said, she goes, we're going to have peace soon. I said, why? We all just have to think for peace soon. I said, John Lennon was trying that and he was killed because of that. But world peace means for that to happen, we have to agree on something. And that something is the God that we perceive. Because if you believe in Superman and I believe in Batman and they believe in God and they believe in nobody, we're not going to agree on the rules of life because they all have their principles that their God teaches them or shows them or works with them with. And they're not the same. No religion has the same rules and regulations. So to say we could have world peace, and the other thing is most of our wars were created by the white race. And I mean the white race is usually Britain, England. Sorry. But I'm just saying.
No, hold on here, man. Don't blame the British for starting wars. We ended many.
To the Irish. I mean, the Protestants and the Catholics. I mean, it's always wars, and it wasn't the Africans. It wasn't. I mean, now we get into Israel and Iraq, the two warring problems on the planet, because they want to be equal. They want to be a power, and when ego steps into your reality, you become a bad person, no matter who you are. So, and then you add money into the mixture, which all our people are involved with, just brings our whole thing down. Now, we're going through this thing as far as hopefully they release something. My only prayer for a word, my only hope is they say one simple sentence. These are the two sentences. Either one, aliens are real or UFOs are from another world. Either one of them, I will be so happy. I don't care if they prove anything.
I've been watching reports on CNN, Fox News, and things like that all week long, and they've had different people from the Navy, the government's different branches, all coming out and said, "Well, yes, they know UFOs are real because they can't go, they can't go 3,000 miles a second or an hour. They can't go up and down vertically. No one has that technology on Earth, so they're all admitting that. So if they're not from Earth, then they're from another place. What other places manufactures aircraft or space phenomenon? It's got to be another race of beings manufacturing them to come here. They didn't manufacture themselves out of thin air, did they? No.
Well, what you put in the chat room, whatever the government says,
Sasha's
people are
on. Does he
still
want to
going to
come
doubt
in?
it. You can come into the chat room if you want, into the site. But see, people have to realize that everybody has an agenda. Everybody has their belief. And most people don't want to move out of that. So these rich people are one. Then you got Congress, these old people. Now I'm going to tell you a fact. Bud Hopkins, who I never liked, all he did was interview people that were abducted. He never had an experience himself. But he put one of his last books before he died was about a story that happened in New York City. The Verrazano Bridge connects New York to New Jersey. Congress was at the UN. They had a big meeting all day. They were going back to the airport in Jersey. They were going across the Verrazano Bridge. They all were frozen on that bridge. They all watched a ship shoot a beam into a window, and this lady levitate out of the room right up into the ship.
I heard that,
They
yeah.
all saw it. He was given letters from 4 different congressmen saying, what was it? What was really going on? All right. He wasn't allowed to use their names. I mean, that's one thing I believe that happened because I talked to a cop. I talked to one of the people that were involved with it. So I'm not a doubter. I mean, I have my own experiences. Like Tina has her experience. We know it's real. But the level of how real it is by how much a person exaggerates their truth. I mean, you don't become a god because you were abducted. You don't become an angel because you were abducted. So the ideas that some of these people come out of it with is created. Getting back to that movie Among Us, it shows you people that say they're aliens. They were implanted in their mother, and they were the father said okay, and things like that. But here's the thing: what good is it to us, and what good is it to anybody else? If we can move forward in any way, and we have to move forward in a group consciousness, which we're not doing. China, all these countries are going to be cloning animals and humans and everything else.
Tell me, I've got, because you're very good about moving forward, and we're moving forward as a species and coming together with this UFO thing, and it's going to be good. People are overlooking the fact still that they are a threat to humanity. All these, I'm not saying do-gooders and these people that want to worship him when they come down, and why do you want to phone the arm? Why should it be investigated? Well, why should a human being living on this earth be taken out of their home, tortured, and put back against their will, with God knows what damage going on the side and bits being taken out of them? And we've got to forgive and forget. No compensation is being awarded, no free medical care for these people or their families. All these lives have been torn apart, and people have been locked up for years because they're mad. No, who's getting their lives back? I'm sorry, it makes me so angry.
Hold that thought, Tina. Would you come on a show with me if I could set it up some way to have a live debate against these people saying that it's good, it's all good? Like Greer says, there's no bad aliens. I said a bad alien takes a person out of the house and plays with their body. That's a bad alien. That's not a good alien.
Against their will. They didn't ask me.
Exactly. So when these people go on, oh, there's no bad aliens. Well, there's no bad people on planet Earth either. You can dream all you want. But the reality, people have to look at it. This is the simplest way I describe it. If I'm a world out there and I'm going to send this ship out into space, what am I going to put on it? All the homeless people?
Knowingly, these species are knowingly coming here. They know that we are sentient beings. They know that we bleed. They take parts from us. They clone us. They interfere with our bodies. They torture us. They know it hurts. They don't understand our behavior. They don't like our aggressiveness. If they know that we are such a classed as a dangerous species to them, why the hell are they doing it to us? It's sure not for our benefit. I'm sorry.
See, I love you for that, Tina, because all these people in the UFO were, oh no, they're good ones. Oh, they came in my house and they took me to this world.
I'm only speaking again. I'm not against anybody. I'm not a hater of anybody. Everyone has their own experience. I'm only telling you my point of view of how I see it from my experience.
See, the thing that I know is a fact. Through hypnosis in the physical world, I could get a person to do anything I tell them to do. So imagine a race with high technology programming people. What they program a person to do. Biggest one, Corey Good. Check out his story. Watch his cartoon he put out. Look at what he says. They show videos in his brain. Now, that's not real. It's a video in his brain. So what they can do to us is way beyond what we could do to a person through hypnosis or whatever you want to call it, programming. So, and I'll go back to the early 50s, in the 50s, when Truman was still president. he made deals with them. And I'm not going to go into all the details why and how I know this, but he made all the deals with them, saying you could dump anywhere from 10,000 to whatever you want in a year, but you
Yeah,
got to give us this back.
but on that same token, when all these soldiers were taken hostage in Vietnam, when all these tribal people were taken hostage and their lands were taken and children were sent away, they were all apologised to. They were all given reprimands from the government. They were all apologised to. They were all given financial reward. They were all given taken care of and put back on their lands, and laws were put in place to help them. Nobody is helping abductees. Providing all this military, everyone's for the military. The military are made up from everyday human beings like me and you, your sons and daughters, their children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. Who is protecting them now? Who is saying, hold on, poor Tina's been abducted, she's been taken out, bits have been ripped out of her body, she's been taken against the will, frightened to death, taken other places. At one point I thought I was going to die. I really thought this thing was going to eat me. I really thought I was going to die. I thought my number was up and that was it. But why should I be made to feel like that? Why should I be taught a person of the human race and the government are going to forgive and forget and it's all going to be good because they're good aliens they've captured or dealt with or have contracts with? People are overlooking that fact.
You're one of the few people that really have that right to talk about that, to say that. I mean,
makes me angry.
Like you said, I don't want to pay for the protection if I don't get any. I said, but the Native people in the United States have not given anything back. So they're one of the few tribes that were given nothing back and very little anything. They didn't give them all the benefits that Black people have, Chinese people have, anybody else that comes into this country, and they have zero benefits. So, but here's the thing. The DNA of the Hopi people is the only tribe of people in the world that have a different DNA than the rest of the world. So are they aliens? They lived on the ground.
Some Aboriginals as well that don't have human DNA.
They're different, but can they help us? See, when government knows anything about a race, for the whole history, the United States was trying to get the Hopi people to fight with the Apache people and the Navajo people. They've been spending every way they could to try to get them to fight each other. Never happened. They weren't warring people, and people don't realize that. Oh, all the movies they put on TV make us think every alien's out there trying to scalp us, which is a lie. But getting back to these alien people, there's different races. But the bottom line to this is also important, what I'm going to say. You got good and bad to what we would perceive as good and bad. But if you're bad, guess what? You got bad weapons. Good people usually don't use bad weapons. So in a war situation, which I'm saying is the reptilians, the Greys, they're not really attacking us, but the Draconians are.
So who in our government is qualified to say whether they're good or bad aliens then?
Well, no, nobody is.
It's only the winners of wars that get to tell the stories.
I mean, all the stories are half twisted. Even in Vietnam, there were stories about the aliens coming down and fighting with them and stuff. I mean, and it's not everybody can tell the story because everybody didn't have the same experience or was involved with that particular experience. But again, how many of the experiences are 100% real, and are they really important? If I'm going to take blood from you, is that important to anybody else on the planet? No. They took blood. So what? Guess what? I didn't want them to take my blood. They took my embryos. They took this. They took my semen. They took this.
It's what they're doing with it.
Exactly. And now, if there's your own child living somewhere, imagine that. And they don't even let you see them or come back. I went through that when I was younger. I worked with women that were abducted, lost their child at 8.5 months pregnant, and they went back to the hospital right after they had a sonogram, and they saw it and everything. And the hospital said, you weren't pregnant. There's no possible way you could have been pregnant. So the technology they're using is way beyond ours, obviously. But these women that lose their children, the one woman that lost 2 children in 3 years, she said they showed her the child once, and they said, you'll never see him again. So things like that aren't beneficial to the human race. It's beneficial to them, maybe, but it's not beneficial to people like us that have families and lose their children or get abducted. I mean, abduction is the same as a rape to me. I mean, for a lot of people, it screws your consciousness. It screws your awareness and changes it. It brings you to a place where you might not ever want to go, and it's hard to get out of it. Once you experience something and you experience it, it can't be taken away.
Yeah.
He has an experience that nobody on this planet probably has one fraction of the idea of how dramatic it really was. I mean, you watch TV and you watch somebody creating a story, you can't create feelings. Everybody's level of love is different. So when we say we love each other, what's that mean? We all love each other the same? No. I love to have sex with you. I love to go out to dinner with you. I
It's
mean,
everyone's different perception or understanding of not everyone's perception of love, hate, sex, or violence or anger is the same.
so
So
we got to.
you try explaining to beings that don't understand, not right or wrong, but don't understand. It's like a 2-year-old kid with a stick going in the wilderness and poking a bee's nest or poking a lion. It doesn't understand the consequence. It doesn't know that the lion thinks the lion's cuddly. It doesn't realize the lion's going to bite his head off and eat it.
Right. You know, we say we're so advanced. Technology is one thing. All right. It's the same as the food. Our food has gone downhill over the
Yeah,
past 50 years.
yeah, I agree with that.
Everything we eat is 70 to 60% less in vitamins than it was when we were young. So to say we're advancing in what way? We got better ships, better cars, but we're not better families. More families are breaking up. More children are abused. We're destroying everything else.
China announced this week they're going to allow their population to grow again. They're allowing the families to have 3 children now.
Oh, wow, really? Well, they're building all these army bases, and I guess they want to put more people on them. See, China's ready for a physical war, and I'm assuming they don't know the United States really is. We're not going to have a physical war. We're not going to have men going in the street battling each other. It's going to be done within minutes or hours, not days and years and all that, like wars, World War I and World War II, and how dramatic and how long they went. We're not going to be in that place anymore. And China's building these armies with more and more people. Guess what? You got to feed them, all right? And everything else. Why? To create more soldiers? I mean, if you were creating loving people, that would help the world greatly. Creating army men is not making the world a better place. I mean, our morals around the world has shifted to the people in power who control what we are allowed to do, how we're supposed to think. But where do the aliens fit into this? They're in the background somewhere. They have to be. So going back to Atlantis, when Atlantis was destroyed and the Anunnaki were programming us, I mean, all those things, people don't want to look at that. Oh, well, you want to believe the Anunnaki created us, which they didn't.
That's so hot here. I'm sweating, sorry.
All the stories we hear are stories. When a man writes something on a piece of paper, cardboard, or stone, does that make it real? And everybody's perception is different. If we all saw
things. Oh, I'll agree with you there. It's like this week, Elon Musk. Congratulations, by the way. He's set a date for his Starship rocket to be launched. It's going to be an ocean launch in next year in 2022. The rocket, the SpaceX rocket, is going to Mars. What is it taking to Mars, and who is it taking it to on Mars?
Well, Mars wants to start Musk wants to start a colony there. All right. He just said he just said this. He was the top richest person, but he lost a lot of money recently. But he just said, okay, this is what he said. 2 weeks ago, he said aliens are not here. Okay, where did he come up with that? Nowhere. He also said on his lecture, college is useless. For somebody like that to come out and say that, he goes, his company, the company that's creating these rockets and everything, he goes, I don't want a person with a degree. I just want somebody that can move forward and develop. So in other words, if he puts them in a job, if they can move and work with that job, he's happy with it. He says if they can't, he'll get rid of them. But the public would go out there and tell children that college is useless. I would say it, but that's besides the point. He's a rich person. People listen to what he says. So for him to say that, it's like now they're hiring for the astronauts. I mean, if I was young, I would have been trying to get on that list to be an astronaut. My best friend, we played astronauts and everything, and he worked for NASA. He designed space shuttle.
I mean, you don't need, actually, to be true, you don't need to be an astronaut to go to space. I've been there. And not courtesy of NASA either.
Well,
Not what I
have.
wanted to go, mind you.
Would you pay $10,000 to do that trip that you went on?
No.
$50,000. Who knows what they're going to be paying? They're taking it. They're having the bids right now. All right, to the highest bidder. Oh, guess who came into the room? Greetings, Sash. You can come on. You can say goodbye to
So,
organic.
greetings. It's 8:41 here in the UK. You're in London, yeah. What's your time? Whether you want to? So, I'm actually here in Southampton. If you're in London, you're a bit further north to me. So it is like nearly 9:45, 8:45 in the evening. Tell me, what time is it, day or night there with you?
It's 9:45 here a.m.
Is that on the 1st or 2nd of June?
Oh, we're still on the 1st.
All right, yeah, we're near. Well, another 3 hours would be in the 2nd here.
But we got problems, and why I do this show is to help people think about what we should be worrying about or thinking about. Oh, don't worry, don't get active, don't be involved. Nothing changes. Change comes from action, and unless people really protest or boycott or do things in a good way, not like Mr. Trump's army, but in a way that supports people, supports women, supports children, support the people that we have here. All right. So this whole UFO thing should have been out.
Oh, so you got it wrapped around his leg. That's why. Sorry, my dogs are going out again, and they're a bit huffy.
It should have been done a long time ago. I mean, there's secret things that they can't tell us, and they cannot. But we should know that when we see ships go by, there's a ship going by. It's not a balloon that they sent up.
Somebody asked me, why do you want to know? Why do you think UFO should be investigated? I don't live far from a few different military sites. I don't live far from historic sites. I don't live far, actually, from where they have crop circles. I don't live far from an installation across the water that it powers energy for half the southern east of England, and I don't live far from a military port. I don't live far from a huge full depot, and I don't live far from Fawley Power Station. So there's like 4 or 5 good reasons why I want to know what's flying in our airspace. Apart from the fact that if it's flying about, is it going to take me again? You know, I don't ever want that to happen again.
Tony was just asking me about the time and everything. They're asking what time it is where we are.
So it's probably about time for Geiger counter time, guys. So what happened was I was having headaches and I went to see into a crop circle. My friend said, get some readings, do a bit of data and research to learn how it's all done. Because since I've been like kind of fascinated with it since I've come out, if you like. So I bought a Geiger counter. I was feeling bad and I was having marks on my skin and losing a few teeth, losing the hair and losing weight and my nails. And I was awful of everything. And my friend said, get a Geiger counter and wait. I think it was Tommy actually said, get a Geiger counter and test yourself. So I did. This is the Geiger counter I've got, guys. Tommy has the exact. I'm here in Southampton in the UK. This is it. This is a make and model. I actually got it on Amazon. It wasn't that much. It's under about 20. Between 12 and 20 quid, I think it was. To be fair, that's it there. So I have one. Tommy has the exact one. I'm going to turn it on now. Tommy's is flashing, by the way. The top is volts per meter, which is electrical field. So it's electrical magnetic field. And the bottom one is micro testers, as you can see there, and that reads Geiger counter. That means that reads radiation. So Tommy's will flash. Turn it around, Tommy, so they can see it flashing. So Tommy's will flash near his screen because I have a smart screen. It doesn't give off radiation and it doesn't give off electrical magnetic fields. Tommy has a computer. His computer screen, as you can clearly see, is reading between 58 and 61 volts per meter, which is electrical magnetic field is given off at his computer. Now, the closer, further away from the computer screen, near me, this tends to go off. It doesn't go off every week, but 95% of the time it does. So we're just going to give it a go. So I don't know if you guys can see that already.
It's going again. See, that's an impossibility under standard laws, scientific laws.
So it's beeping because it's a hazard, guys.
Because she's radioactive.
So as I go through the middle, it tends to go to 0 or down.
Radiation.
Now, there you go. It stops beeping there. And then let's go to the other side. There you go. It's gone. So we're going. There it is. There. So we're going to go to this side, and the readings are going up the closer I get to my head. I'll take it away from me, and you see it go down, down, down. There you go. Further away from me, the lower it gets. There you go. So sometimes I do give off electrical magnetic field, not very often, but other times the radiation will go up, beep, 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 beep. It shouldn't be beeping because it's a warning, because it's a high reading. So there it is. So again, it's micro testers. Check it out for yourself. And the top one is volts per meter. So if you've got radiation coming from your body, which is an impossibility, it's not supposed to be going off. But it's not every now and then. It's nearly every week, to be honest with you. And as Tommy said, every week, then I'd like an explanation for that from somebody if they could. Tommy, over to you.
All right, people. I suggest you send our link, if you can, to everybody you know. Try to get people involved. We're open for questions. We're open for people with any real information. We'd love to bring them on. Got a good story, a real story, we'll bring you on. You want to talk about it? We're not here promoting false stories or make-believe and trying to make money. This is only to bring a little more awareness to a world that has very little, and we do need it now. I mean, I wrote a lot of books. I don't write about UFOs. I mean, as far as in all my books, I put a PDF file out. If anybody wants a book, it's a PDF file on how to see a UFO, I will send it to them for free. If you're interested, if you follow what I say in there, you'll see a UFO in a short period of time. But make sure it's what you want. Make sure it's important in your life or a reason why you really want to do it. Just not for a ha-ha. I mean, you're going to have to put some time into it. So you don't want to waste time unless it's something that you feel that it's beneficial to you. But please, I'm going to let Tina.
Tommy's frozen now, guys. Tommy's been freezing a lot. So right about your after a demand writing about my account. So that'll be out later this year or probably next year, however I can get around to it, because I do work for a living, guys. So I have brought out this book, quite a chunky book. This is Guardians of Light and the Brotherhood of the Night. It's a bit of a fantasy book. There's the IBSN number. You can get this on Amazon. I think I'm not sure if it's Kindle. You can get it in paperback. It's not out in hardback, and you can get it on download. So it's available on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. This is the checkpoint, and this is by me. There's a picture of me on the back. That's a short story, classed as erotical romance. There it is there. This is also available on Kindle, on download, and you can get it on Kindle Unlimited for free. And it's available now in Australia, I think, so you can buy it in the States and other parts of the world, but now you can also buy it in Australia. So look out for that, guys. So it's free on Kindle Unlimited. You can buy it on download and in paperback form. There it is there. Tommy, over to you. So that's been, we got a couple of minutes yet. Tommy, Sasha, hello.
How are you?
Hello, Tina. How are you?
I'm fine. Any questions on tonight's show?
Where are the files?
This is what I've just been sent to Tommy. So here in the UK, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning when they if the government said, oh, we're releasing something today, it would have been released at 9, 10 or 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, before the end of play, really. So before 4 o'clock in the evening, from anywhere between 8, 9, 10 in the morning until like 4 o'clock in the evening. So the file should have been released. That's what I'm saying today. They said on the 1st. Apparently it was a report. The Secretary of the Navy had to release a report, so it might come out in the 9 o'clock news or 10 o'clock news in the States. I don't know. But for you guys in America, what time is it where you are, Sasha?
I'm sorry, where am I? I'm in Missouri.
What time is it there?
Oh, it's almost 3, 10 till.
Oh, in the afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
So has there been anything on the news about the Secretary of the Navy or the Men in Black?
No.
So
there has been a lot of speculation. People are saying when Congress gave that order to the DOD and other agencies to release this, they did so on December 26th or the 8th. So a lot of people are saying that they're not going to release it until June 26th or the 8th because, it's exactly 180 days afterwards.
Well, basically today really is. But the
Because
problem is,
the law passed, it said the 1st of June, didn't it? So today's the 1st of June.
right. But now here's the thing. Most people in all the news worlds and things like that aren't looking at this as like a really important thing. Realize these people aren't aware of any of it. They don't believe half of it. So they're not rushing out there trying to get people to tell the story, going up to the White House and asking people. They're not trying to get to the ground floor of it.
Sasha,
Well,
can I ask you? Sorry, Tommy. Can I ask you a question? Like Tommy's brought this up earlier in the show, and I'll probably put another spin on it. How would you, directly, never mind about religion or anything, how would you personally feel, not being abducted, not my account, how would you personally feel if the Secretary of the Navy came out and said, this is a report, yes, there are unidentified flying objects. We're not saying aliens exist. So if they're saying there's unidentified flying objects, where do you think these things come from? If they don't not made on the Earth, then surely it will then follow they're made outside the Earth by a different species. That's one thing. And two, if these aliens do exist, how would you feel about them freely coming into our zone or our zone? And how about if they took you and took one of your body parts or anything else? How would you feel about that, Tommy? Sorry, Sasha.
First of all, I do believe they're interdimensional beings. They're coming in from their reality to ours, whenever they feel like it. And in terms of caring, I really don't, because it has nothing to do with, with my life and my journey.
But what if it did? So what if they directly went there to your house and I don't know, killed your dog or took a member of your family or even took you? Oh, look, let's just do a few experiments on Sasha before we put him back. And you remembered that, and you remembered the pain or you had scars on your body. How would you psychologically feel if these things could come down any time into your airspace and do this to you again? And they could do it every day and the government's not going to do nothing to protect you. How would you feel about that?
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't give you an accurate answer since it's never happened to me. I can't say it because I've never experienced it, but I would assume I would feel very frustrated and angry.
It was scary as well. I mean, and that, another thing, like Tommy was saying, and I agree with him as well, is they don't know what they're inviting into this plane, or like you said, from another dimension. We don't know what's going on there, and for all we know, these people that are inviting them here could be ringing a dinner bell, like Tommy says, or they could be coming in here for world domination, just for example, or they could come in here for other not positive reasons. We don't know what all this mass energy we're sending out, how they're perceiving it if they don't perceive behaviors and emotions. Would you agree with that's a correct analogy?
I would have to agree, and it is scary and it is somewhat of a concern because these entities do not have any empathy.
Well, Tina, we got a guest in the chat room. If you want to talk, take yourself off of mute and say hello if you can.
Welcome, Cheslin.
Oh, he dropped off.
I probably thought we'd pick up. Justin, if you're there and you want to come on, please come back on.
As soon as I say welcome, they leave.
But okay, we don't have too much time before Tina's going to leave us. So why don't you give us your great wisdom of what you think is going to happen in the next month?
So, guys, I think not a lot's going to happen. I think, as I've said all along, I think people are going to be disappointed. They get disappointed with the report. I think people don't understand. I think it was just they were ordered. The Secretary of the Navy was told, I believe, just to pull all the information together and give a report in 180 days, which is today. I've seen no sign of a report. I'm not quite sure how it works. There's different laws and different things in place. So I don't mean to offend anybody, but 180 days is up. It is a report. I think people were looking for full disclosure. Yes, aliens exist. Well, if you look on the telly, the Secretary of the Navy, whoever else is telling you UFOs are real, so they don't really need to disclose it. That is a disclosure in itself. They're waiting for you to actually come out with a government frank piece of paper saying, government frank piece of paper, there it is, aliens exist. That's not going to happen. I think people are going to be really disappointed. But you just got to see what they release. Tommy, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, the first thing is realize we do owe that to Trump. All right. Considering he doesn't believe in aliens, or his public statement on it is he doesn't. The same as Obama. Obama doesn't believe in it as well. So
he does now. He's actually come out and said.
He said, this is what he said. There's unidentified objects, but we really can't describe how and why they work or whatever. But I'm not going to go to the extreme and say they're aliens. All right. So obviously you go outside and you see something going flying by at light speed. Obviously, it's not our ship. But we do have 2 ships that go super fast. Whether they release that or not, who cares? I said I only want them to release 1 sentence to go public. And on that file, whatever it's going to say, well, there are what? Unidentified flying objects. Meaning what? What is an unidentified flying object? Something that we can't identify. Does that mean everybody on the planet can't identify it? And if we all can't identify it, guess what? It's not of the planet. I mean, if Russia could say, well, that's my ship, or China.
I was listening to Luis Elizondo. Again, I said, if your name's wrong, I apologize. He actually said that they were doing reports, like China was giving reports, Germany was giving reports, even though Germany officially doesn't believe in UFOs. Russia, the UK, other countries were adding to these military reports in the States for decades. He said decades are filtering for this all information. And then he says he doesn't think 180 days is enough time to get a report together. Well, he's just said they've had decades of all this information. Surely if you've had decades and decades from China, Russia, India, England, all these other countries, France and Germany, if you had decades of information in, surely you should be writing annual reports on this. If you're collating all this information, you're collating it for a purpose. What purpose is that? What are your findings? And it should be in that report. It should be at hand.
Tina, there were reports released a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
But they blocked out certain words.
Redacted it, yeah.
They showed basically what was going on, but they blocked out.
It's declassifying the information, isn't it?
These files, does it say that they have to be unblocked? They can show the files that are all blocked out.
Yeah. No, they said no. They want to declassify them down, so they can be released. I think that was their aim, but whether that will come off, I don't know.
Blocked out the original file. There's no way they're going to show a file that's not blocked out. All right, to cover things up. Now, somebody said a couple things like they have all the proof and all this. I said, a show I watched yesterday, they were talking about how they released all the MJ files. I said, that's a lie. They didn't put it on computer. There's not a site where you can go into MJ files and see all their old files. That's a totally ridiculous lie. I was friends with somebody from MJ12, and the information was always verbal. It wasn't like they documented, because they were like top secret people, and they kill people. So guess what? That information didn't go public ever. So you get people saying, well, somebody put a file out and said whatever they want. All these files coming out, who wrote them? The Navy, the Army, the Marines. Who? Phil Snyder came out with his story, and that's the most important UFO story there is.
And he was connected. His father was very well connected, wasn't he?
I could go on with names. I can't say names of people that I know that involve totally what's going on. So when people say, well, blah, 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 no, it's there. There's information there. What they're going to show us, they should show us something, because they don't have to tell us that they could take China out in one day. We got the new machine from some alien race. Putin, Russia, public TV said it. 27 races, he said, they're dealing with. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. Now, I will tell you this. The United States already is working with Russia to protect the planet. All right? Not races and people, the planet itself. We had wars in space. You don't hear one UFO person talking about it, because they don't know people involved deep enough to understand or find out that information. My best friend, Sean David Martin, is back in jail as of last week. He discovered Area 51. He took people there to see the ships coming in every Thursday. Motherships landed there, and he brought people up there. And then when they saw him up there, they bought all that land. So this
You've been freezing a lot, Tommy, just so you know.
You're going to go?
Yeah, you've been freezing a lot as well. But I'm going to go. Guys, I'm going to see you next week, Sasha. And I'm going to try and look online. I want all you guys to look online for any information. I want to see this report. I want to hear it for myself, read it for myself, and I want your takes on it. What take? Were you happy with it? Were you not? Did it contain the information you wanted? And is there stuff in there we didn't even know?
All right. Well, Tina,
it sounds good. It was good talking to you again, Tina. You take care.
Thank you, guys.
I'll see you next week. But I'm going to be doing 2 more shows. But if I do a special release, you want to come on or no?
if it's a day I can make it, Tommy, I'm not exhausted from work, I'll
right.
definitely come on. And if you want to arrange another interview, I'm quite happy to come on and speak my mind as I normally do. But guys, Sasha, thank you. It's been good having spoken to you. Well, Tommy, as always, you're great, and I love speaking with you all there. Like,
It was a pleasure,
you're great,
Tina.
guys. And I'll speak to you next week. Till then, take care of yourselves. That's goodbye from me here in the UK. I'm with Tina Brad. You can find me on Facebook. Buy my book, please. It's on Amazon, Kindle. And guys, I'll see you next week. It's been great. See you later. Bye-bye.
So, people, all right. I want to get into a couple things. While Tina's gone, we don't talk about spiritualism much. She doesn't like to. I do. I do a lot of the words religion, spiritual, and things like that. If you see that little line going around the bottom, all right? What I was saying before, when people get abducted, within a year, probably by the end of the next year, they're writing a book on spirituality and then becoming a healer and becoming all these things. You know, whether it's a pre-injected idea, thought, memory, or a conditioning of being programmed when they say they're spiritual. I haven't met anybody spiritual on this planet. So when they say they become spiritual and they write a book on it and stuff, what do they know now that they didn't know before they were abducted? All right, that there's aliens and there's dimensional worlds and stuff. It has nothing to do with spirituality. Now, the other thing is, I told you this movie that just came out by Corey, Lorraine, I don't know what her first name is, sorry, Among Us. It's interesting. The witnesses and what's happening. She was doing energy work over a DNA sample and they measured it and they said it was changed. So basically she's saying she could change people's energy. That already means programming people. Now, Drumville Melchizedek, all right, he said he was going to bring the crystal race out from inside the earth. Still didn't happen. But he also was working with somebody with an idea of hypnosis to erase a person's life. In other words, they want to do it to the prisoners and erase their problems. Would you trust somebody by erasing their memory and putting them back out on the street, a mass murderer? People come up with these ideas. I don't know where or why. But getting back to spiritual people, please show me people on this planet that are spiritual and have something good going on now. People think by helping people, that's what they came here for. I'm doing a workshop. I've been working on it tooth and nail now. I'm going to be doing 2 preview shows. It's 7 pages as of like last night of what I'm going to be talking about, what I'm going to be doing a workshop with and about. All right. There's a serious problem at every level, from religion, from teaching, from schooling, from childhood. There's so many things wrong and there's nothing good. So I'm going to get into that. And I'm going to say, if you follow this, like I said, like the UFO book, you want to see a UFO, just listen to what I'm saying and do it. But this is going to be how to change your reality. Change the way you think, change what you believe in, and at least work to get to a better place. And find the right ways to do that. Just saying, I want to be better, I'm going to become spiritual, I met an alien, now I'm spiritual. It doesn't work, and it's not real. When these people, like, I'm going after Whitney Shriver. He put a book out about Jesus. And I don't know if you know my story. My book is The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization, from being aware of the lifetime when Jesus was alive. All right. I'm not exaggerating. And I can give you details and override what it says in the Bible, because most of the stuff in the Bible are lies or twisted or loss of the actual facts. What he taught, what he was teaching to these disciples is not in the Bible. I'm going to get into every aspect of what we believe in protection. Where's your protection coming from? What is protection? Oh, I believe in Jesus. I believe in Moses. I believe in God. I believe in what? And what protects you? And what does it actually protect? The only thing that could get protected, which doesn't really need protection, is your soul. But it is open for programming. Whether you're abducted or hypnotized, whatever it is, when the soul's in this body, the mind controls the body, not the soul. The soul has to battle the mind constantly to get what it wants to try to get through into the mind. And 90% of the time, the mind doesn't accept it anyway. I told you there's a simple technique to learn to listen to mind and soul. They're separate thoughts that come into you, and you need to know which one's more important to listen to, no matter what it is, for a job, for an emergency, whatever it is, you need to learn which thought or feeling or emotion that you have to really realize is more important than the other. Simple things like that. When you get abducted, that's stripped away from you. You're programmed. Now, I mean, not just Tina. I work with abductees. They have no time. Travis Walton. I mean, people like that. Uh, and they go into this story. They remember parts of it. Yeah, even that, they tried to block that out of their memory. Now, all these other people that had no bad things happen on a ship, they don't even know what went down. And now they're saying, well, I saw all these beautiful worlds and beautiful places and things. Really? And they're coming here for what reason? If you had a beautiful world, would you want to bring anybody from planet Earth there? I wouldn't. If you had a city.
No,
Exactly.
Everywhere we go, especially where, like new in a forest, we are good at destroying it.
That's all mankind does now. And I'm going to explain in detail about Atlantis. I mean, Goya, Gaia, whatever it is, they're talking about what Atlantis is. Really, they're going to give you bull stories. I'm telling you. How many people really know what went on down there? I actually was on Carrie Cassidy's show debating her about it because she said she was in Atlantis. She claims a lot of things. She claims she's psychic. She claims this and the other thing. But the truth is, I was in Atlantis right until it was destroyed. So, but I guess she said she was there when it was destroyed. But it's common sense that it was destroyed. It was the only time, people, planet Earth was actually called the Golden Age. And it wasn't because we were using gold. Gold and silver and bronze is basically, they call it that because that's the kind of metals they were supposed to be using during that time frame. Well, where's the Diamond Age? Where's the Crystal Age? I mean, given names of what we actually were using in those time frames.
Mm-hmm.
So getting back to this whole thing about what's happening now, okay? Atlantis was destroyed. They were spiritual people. They weren't animals, and they weren't killing each other. They weren't eating animals. All those things weren't there. And mankind accepted alien programming, which was from the Anunnaki and the Draconians and the reptilians, and we became different. So when people talk about moving forward, we just went downhill from that point on. Gladiators, and people love to see people get killed and murdered. Everything we did shows, like Sasha just said, we're going to the forest, we'll burn it down. Let's set it on fire. Let's get some heat. Let's kill all the animals running around. It's destruction. I mean, let's plant a tree. We're going to chop 1,000 down. We'll plant 100 trees. But you know how long it takes a tree to grow?
Mm-hmm.
When you chop a 100-year, 200-year-old tree down, guess how many years it is? 200 years old. So when you chop thousands of trees like that down, what we're doing to the air, climate, no wonder. Oh, here comes somebody, I think. Hold on. Hello, James. Greetings.
Hey, how you doing?
Where are you located? Oh, that was come and going. All
In
right.
and out, James.
In and out. That's no problem.
Yeah. Hello and goodbye.
So getting back to the point how mankind is great for destruction, and hurting people, hurting families, hurting children. They don't care who they hurt, what they destroy.
Nope.
The rich people don't care about anybody except themselves. And Jesus said that many times. And I'm not saying that as a religious thing. It's a fact. A rich person that's a multi-billionaire that could sit there eating lobster every night while little children are being slaughtered, sold into slavery, being abused, being cut up for body parts, and be okay with that? I mean, if I had money, I would open a lot of centers in the United States for abused women and then abused children. That would be the first place I would start with. The children of the future are so destroyed by what's happening and what people allow.
Well, why don't we just take James LeBron's salary and help out the homeless?
Well, we could do a lot of things. Just try to make tax on anything over $1 million. Okay? We base it on, let's charge tax to the poor people, which is pretty dumb. You want money, you charge the rich people.
Mm-hmm.
Or you go back into the Roman days and all this kind when they charged the people and they took their crops and they took this from them and everything. For what? Their protection? I mean, it's always like, we'll protect you, but we want our money and everything else. Protection, you don't need protection, people, because karma is a really important word. Karma is what you created in all your lifetimes to now. That you have to pay off. No matter what you do, where you go, how you do it, you have to pay that karma off to get to a better place. So if you're aware of that, serve the karma out. Whatever happens is going to happen, but realize you're getting to a better place. But if you assume you can change your karma or just get rid of it, we're like all these new age healers and everything. Oh, you're healed, and karma comes. Everything you get in your life is karma, good or bad. But most of it's bad because you're still on planet Earth, which I call hell. Hold on, somebody put something in the chat room.
Yeah. Cheslin was asking, or was just saying there's a UFO sighting over Florida, which led to underwater base claims, and I just asked him if that's updated. Is that for today, or was that an old report?
Well, just so you know, Hawaii, we have 2 bases under the water here, and there are multiple people yearly see these green ships going into the ocean. All right, and I could go in. I have a friend that went down inside one. All right, it's real. What they're doing, they're not interfering with us. They're worried about the plates of the planet moving, and they're not worried about us because we're pretty stupid. So to try to work, like I say, like, let's go to an ant colony and teach them to build a temple. All right, I mean, they'll put their little balls together and make a little mountain, but to try to make them to build our kind of a temple or to build a spaceship, it's ridiculous. Mankind has given up awareness of God to accept the awareness thinking that they're God. And when you do that, we lose everything positive that we ever had. Aliens that come here are not going to rebuild that. They don't know how we feel or our emotions. Never mind, they don't know nothing about their God. They want to be God. They always brainwash the people, whatever time frames, Mayans, the Aztecs, going back to whatever. They pretended they were gods. And they didn't use the word God. God is a newer word. So whatever they wanted to call it. Deities was with deity. It wasn't an alien. Now I just saw a show saying aliens, are angels. See, if you don't have an experience or awareness of something, you can't compare it to something else. If you never saw an apple, you can't compare an apple with a bear. It's like 2 separate entities that you have no clue what the one is. How can you compare it to it? Like even the idea of like everything's not a Bigfoot. Well, how do they know what kind of DNA a Bigfoot's supposed to have? How do we know it's not supposed to have bear DNA in it as well? Kind of has bear hair and bear. See, people assume, and then science always makes it worse than it is. They don't tell us the truth because they don't know the truth. They don't know how we got here. They don't know how we were started. They don't know anything about that. They don't know the beginning of planet Earth. They could say things. They could tell us the moon was made out of cheese. We would believe it until we get there and stick a fork in it. So we're being programmed at so many levels. And I'm sorry to say, people, if you listen to this, the UFO world's pretty bad right now. They're all attacking each other. Nobody has any truth that they're giving us. Sure, there was a ship here, a ship there, and nobody's talking about why. Well, Mr. Richard Dolan says, well, my idea, my belief. Who cares about his belief? We need facts. What are aliens here for? He doesn't know. He wasn't even next to a real alien. I was. Do you want facts of what they do, how they are, how they treat people? Look at Tina. She was next to him. So when you say, no, we don't want to hear an idea, somebody's twisted idea. Einstein had a lot of ideas that were lies. He was programmed. He worked with an alien race. But he was fed false information at that time for some reason. Where Tesla was given a lot of information for a reason. And I truly believe because Not that Tesla knew we would destroy the planet with his technology, but the alien race did. They said we'll eventually destroy a lot of things with their technology. And that's why they gave it to us. Not that we could be better than them. No ruler, no God, deity, angel wants to make somebody better than them. And that's why they're where they're at. A soul keeps moving forward as long as it's willing to become and let go. Let go of all the things it knows to move on to better things. But if you think you're better and you hold things back, a lot of religions don't give the information out. You know, in a temple, they have a sphere in back of the altar, and they don't even know why anymore. So, you know, truth is being squished, I would say, for a word. It's being taken away. It's being removed. We need it back. We need to be aware, and we need to be respectful. All right? Everybody has to be respectful, which isn't happening as well. Countries do not respect children. They don't respect boundaries. I mean, we can't move forward until that's an established idea. You got a religion, you can't force it on other people. You have a way of life, you can't force it on other people. But you should be able to live in that way of life for yourself. I mean, all the laws, like a cop has the right to get a search warrant and come in your house. Nobody should have the right to come in your house. It's your property, your house. Nobody should have the right to. Well, what if? You're going to come in on a what if, right? No, it's not right. So, I mean, the laws that the rich people make are always to take away the poor people. Well, they're homeless, they're thieves, they're robbers. I don't want them in my neighborhood. I don't want this. It's always about protecting their house, their ground, their supposedly think that the land that they own. Goes against native truth. They stripped every native on this planet of what they had, put them on a desolate piece of land, hoping they would die. I mean, that's the consciousness of the human race. And I had a teen who's gone, so I'll say the British and the English and the Spanish. They would have been downfall for the United States, period. The native people were, well, they would have had a downfall of their own kind. They said they work with Bigfoot. They said they work with the star beings. What did the star beings do for them? Nothing. Do people understand when people tell stories, it's just a story? If they don't have any kind of proof or any kind of symbolism or something to bring out that shows it's beneficial of aliens being here, what would be the beneficial thing about it? They're trading. They've been taking people and trading technology. But is it going to help people? No. The rich people, the powerful people don't care about us as people. The whole UN Agenda 21 is about eliminating all us, as many as they can. Why take care of people that can't do anything for me? Why do you think, and this is one of the saddest things that happened over the past 20 years, China took over and destroyed Tibet. This country, one of the most spiritual countries, I mean, there's bad things going on there, but they pray 7 hours a day, everybody, and it's vibrating at a higher level. And China went in there, killed many lamas, destroyed 250 temples, raped the women, and then actually took it over completely. They were asking for help. They were setting themselves on fire. The lamas were begging for help from the United States, England, any country to come and help them. But you know what the problem is with society and government? If you don't have anything to give us, we don't want to help you. Now, and I found this out years ago, there's a few countries that still have leprosy. You know, we have the cure for leprosy, but nobody will pay to bring it in there to cure those people or at least end the problem. And that shows you what rich people are, as long as it's not in their neighborhood. If we moved all the leprosy people into a millionaire zone, guaranteed there would be a change, dramatic change instantly. So I don't like rich people. I live with a billionaire family. I live with 2 millionaire families. And the problems that they create and live with have nothing to do with us. And they're usually cheap at a lot of different levels. I'm not going to get into it because aliens aren't here to help us become better people. And if that's not the case, they're useless for us. Technology is not going to help us. Musk wants to move to Mars. By the time he gets there, what are they going to have there? They're going to have an ocean, a mountain, parks. What are they going to be able to do for beauty or anything else? Go in their little capsule house and stay there and eat what? What kind of food? What kind of clothes are they going to wear after a week or a year? I mean, all those little things that took us a long time to get to where we are at this point. It's going to be the same on Mars, except there could be races there. I'm not going to go into that, whether there are races inside that planet or not. I know there's races or war races on the moon. That I know for a fact. So where are we going, people? Are you aware? Do you care? Well, we need to know that there's aliens and they're real. I don't care about what the government's doing with them. We don't need to know that because we can't change that right now. Until we realize, you can't fight a war if you don't know who the people are, where it is, or what. You have to know all the things about it. Why are we fighting? Vietnam was a war that we should have never went into. The aliens appreciate it because they took a lot of people. They got a lot of children and all those kind of things. But people, are you aware what's really happening? The good aliens are helping us. What? Teach us what? Dimensions, which I'm going to get into great detail in my workshop because we have to learn about going through them. The dimensions of the lower realms are not spiritual realms. What people think when they leave their body, it's spiritual. No, if I kill you right now, your soul is going to come out of your body. Does that make you spiritual? No. Your karma determines what you are. The amount of karma you have determines where you're going to go. And not an alien, not a space cadet, not an interdimensional being. Angels are not aliens. Aliens are not deities. All those words are separate because they're separate entities. They all have different realms and places that they are now. You don't see them walking around on the planet, do you? The only entity that's around here, which you can see in people, is Satan's army. It reflects in children's eyes when they go into a church or school and shoot somebody, or go into the room and stab their brother, whatever you want to say. That's where you can see that it's not what's normal. It's not what's happening from our own reality. It's being forced into us and on us. Satan is controlling the planet right now. He's controlling all the alien races as well. So people, I hope you're listening. I hope you listened, whether you like it or not. I'm not here to make people like what I say. I'm only trying to put some facts out there for you to dive into, to understand, to work at, to get your own answers for. Are they good aliens? I doubt it. Good in what way? They don't need us. That's a good way to start. But as far as where are they going? What do you think they want? What do you think an ultimate goal in the physical reality is? We don't have any. Oh, I want a family, I want a house, I want a job, and I want money. That's what we came here for? Soul came here for one reason only. It's not like, well, I got to find my mission. No, you're not here to save the planet. You're not here to save the churches. You're not here to save the schools. You're not here to save all the children. You're here to learn who and what you are as a soul. That's all. Not everybody else's. There's 7.4 billion people. Do you care what they are? Should you care? No, but you're on this reality, work with them, so you should try to get along. That's about it. So until we realize aliens aren't going to help us, when we have a money market crash soon and the world starts twisting and turning, think aliens are going to come down and feed us and take care of us? No.
No.
So people, please, when I'm getting back to this UFO conventions and all these things coming up, they want your money. They want to give you more stories. Stephen Greer is pushing so much false information and attacking other people. Nick Pope, they're attacking. All right? It's sad that the top speakers, Stephen Greer, Nick Pope, I mean, all these people, David Wilcock, I mean, all those people. What is happening? Lies, lies, and more lies. Nothing beneficial. Why I want to do this workshop, which I've been preparing for a year at least, in detail already. Step by step from birth, what we need to do with children and life of children, what we need to do with teenagers, what we need to do with our lives. And it's not about flying further and further and further out into space. That's not going to, anybody that believes that, including Musk and all the idiots, please pull up the story of Babel in the Bible. Read it. Listen to where this person was coming from, what he thought he can create, and why he did it. That's the same mentality. Jack and the Beanstalk, same mentality. The higher you get. And what? You become spiritual? You become this, that? No. You're still in the dimensions of this reality. So I could go on forever, but I think that's it for today.
What days do you do the workshops?
Oh no, I didn't start it. It's
okay.
going to be 2 weekends in a row. It's going to be all-day workshops, and I'm not going to charge money. I'm going to leave it open for donation. I feel, and I was talking to my partner about this. Anybody that charges money for spiritual awareness or teachings is doing something wrong. You can't charge for something that's beneficial and truthful within every soul.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's wrong, and I always knew it was wrong. I did a lot of healing work. I did a lot of different things. Never charged. I said, you want to donate something or something? That's your choice. Never said, well, I want $50 to heal you. I want, like these people do. Money has nothing to do with spirituality. And when you die, you'll see that. Like all these rich people, when they let go of their money and take nothing with them, they'll be surprised, or people will be surprised where they're going to go and what's going to happen. It's not a good thing, people. If you're rich and you got a lot of money and you're dying and you still got a lot of money, there's a problem there. I mean, I try to talk to the people directly, but most of these people don't have any balls or courage or anything to deal with their own truth.
Yep.
They'll put it out there, but they won't stand by it and protect it. Michael Sala, who's in Hawaii where I am, all he does is attack the government, our army. I said, attack your own country. Go to Australia and attack your army. They got the biggest army base in the world there, and nobody talks about that. Nobody. Why is that? So, you're going to get involved with things that can help mankind at some level. I mean, we're going to just pray to make it better. No, that will not happen either. Action first, then prayer. Do the action and then pray while you're doing it later or whatever. But do the action. Without the action, nothing happens. Look at all the prayers that came and went, and look where we are right now, in the worst place we have ever been, with love and relationships and space and all the other things. We got more entities, beings, and creatures and demons here than ever in history.
Yep.
Because we're playing with vortexes, allowing the stuff to come in to merge with this dimension. CERN is one of the biggest dangerous things on the planet right now. CERN, people. Look it up. Look what it does. Look what they did. They even admit they just did. The UFO world doesn't want to talk about that. Oh, we're going to talk about the good aliens and how we went on a trip. Really? Can you show us one? If you're good friends with all these alien people, why don't you have something from them? Why can't you bring out one of their lasers or healing weapons or tools, whatever? Why can't you do something beneficial? Because they're not here to help us. And when people realize that, maybe we can move forward. This report, like I said, until the world really knows that there's an alien and it's real, or that UFOs are really from some other planet, it's not going to matter. This whole UFO world is just going to sink into the ground and disappear. Until that's truthfully released, then people can open their minds and then even admit to their own abductions, which they can't do. I can go on about that because I have a friend who's dealing with top doctors and lawyers that have all been abducted, and they don't know how to deal with it. They're not going to come out and say it. They don't want to lose their reputation. So people, look, we're running out of time for the planet, for what we do, what we create. So let's try to form some kind of like connection with each other, respect each other. I'm bad. If somebody's an outright liar, I'll face them about it. We can't go forward with lies. We can only go forward with truth.
Mm-hmm.
And if nobody puts it out there, we're going to go nowhere. So people, you heard it here first, or you're going to hear it first. If I find out the information right away, I'll probably do a show on it because I'm dealing with a bunch of people right now, and they're not going to get back. They won't deal with me. I mean, I was blocked by Mr. Sala because he goes, "Oh, I'm going to have to block you." I said, "Do what you got to do." But as long as you're going to put lies out there, I'm going to say things against it. I know the government's doing a lot of bad things. Do I want to talk about it? No. But they're doing good things too. People don't look at that. All people do good and bad things. Is it saving the planet? Yes, it is. Is it saving the poor people? No, it's not. Is it saving rich people? Yes, it is. So see, there's boundaries where everybody puts their boundaries on. So, and it's always to protect the rich because they're the ones that are going to pay them whatever they want or do and how they're going to do it. So, people, with that, enjoy your day, night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. If you listen to this later on, please, if you have a message or questions, Hawksblood1, HAWKSBLOOD number 1 at AOL.com. I'm on Skype, people. Anybody want to talk directly, which I rather talk than type, Skype, it's Hawksblood11. All right. I'm open. I'll debate anybody. I don't want to debate people that have no truth or anything. Somebody that claims all this great experience and everything else. I'm still waiting to challenge the top mystic on the planet. He was friends with Barney Hill, and he was dealing with the alien stories at that point. Now he claims he's the top mystic on the planet. Control time, control this. I said, look, let's debate it. He said he would. I've been waiting almost a year already. Oh, I'll debate you soon. I'll debate you, but he won't. I asked him, I'm going to be on for about 1 minute. I asked him one question. Do you know anything about the silver cord? And he said, yes. I said, wow, he admitted. I said, do you know? He goes, yes, I'm connected. At that point, he actually said to the world, he can't go past the astral plane. He said it himself. I didn't say it. Well, see, people put their foot in their mouth a lot of times because they don't have any real experience, even though they claim it. So, people, look, I'm here. If you want to come on Skype anytime, want to come on the show, if you got some stories that are beneficial and real, please talk to me first. Email me or come on Skype because I try to get an understanding of a person before I bring them on because I don't want to hear ridiculous stories or lies or twisted stories. So, till next time. Thank you, Sasha, for hanging. I appreciate it.
Anytime, and thank you for having me.
Anytime questions, just text me. You know that. People, please, I'm open all the time for questions, answers, whatever you got. I'm here. So that's Tommy Hawksblood calling from the Big Island, Hawaii. Enjoy yourself. Till next time.